Oh yes, welcome back to Marvel Contest of Champions. This is your Monday, 20th of May edition of the news. I'm feeling rather, I was about to say frisky, but that's not really a good thing to kind of say. But hey, we can all feel frisky, you can feel excitable. I'm not a dog, although I don't think I am. Maybe I am. Let's roll into the news. Our first story begins with a bit of a catch-up for something that dropped over the weekend, and that is that 23.1 will not only see, hopefully, improvements to problems that have been plaguing us for a long time, and hopefully Kabam don't screw up their game, but the fact is we've also going to see improvements to Alliance Quest with the launch of Season 6. The major thing that really kind of comes from this improvement is that we're going to see new bosses, and it has been a little bit of a negative feedback on the fact they want to put in the Nameless Thanos. Yes, if you didn't like or enjoy the Nameless Thanos this much from this update or this particular event quest, then hey, you're going to love it ongoing, especially if you're doing more difficult stuff. But fret not, he will not get the Infinity Stones, so therefore won't go into those certain sections. But there are going to be very tricky things to negotiate, in particular learning more about your inverted controls or reverse controls, whatever it is. The fact is, nothing's as it seems. Also, it looks like we're going to get some sort of minions based thing, so not those yellowy things in dungarees. It's going to be a fact of different rotating champions like Sentinels, symbiotes, as well as Ultron drones. Which then makes me feel, what was the point of these having been put into the game files? What was the point of creating them? Is this something that's going to come back at a later date? Would it be nice to see some sort of scroll type thing with this, as a lot of players did talk about when this was going to be put in game for something for the Captain Marvel event. Well, why can't there be something for an Alliance Quest that has scrolls, and the whole kind of scroll invasion being a bigger thing throughout the year in some sort of capacity? Look, whatever. Also, there's an extensive improvement to Map 7, not something I'm particularly interested in. I know some alliances do opt for, as they progress on, doing like 1 day of Map 7 and the rest doing Map 6, but there could be different reasons for that variation, and in any case it may be that they could be turned off by this particular set of improvements. They've just got used to a slim amount of Map 7 and now everything is going to change. Somewhat exciting, but I'll leave this up to those that do Map 7 to cast their judgment. For more information on the buffs for that, they can be found in the link in the description. But let's move on to the more important thing, and that is, have the rewards changed? First of all, if you do Map 7, you'll see an increase in the amount of Tier 5 basic fragments that you're going to get. But when it comes to lesser, kind of mid-level players, whatever a mid-level player is nowadays, and early players, you're able to get yourself more from the Glory Store at a lower cost, which is positive for you making further progression in the game. And for those that do lesser maps, you're going to see more Tier 1 Alpha, you're going to see an improvement to potentially getting more glory. So this is positive for those that are newer to the game, or maybe running stuff like Map 3 without any kind of limitations whatsoever. Kabam have noted a lot of things are subject to change, so there could be something that comes with the announcement that we may not expect. Also, it's important for them to gauge response from this. And at the moment, with predominantly a lot of players kind of like going with the laugh out loud, it kind of denotes that maybe it's not really going to be as well received. And I think at times, maybe it's good to get everyone's feedback as to how they feel about the game. That is something I've felt from stuff that I've read in the last 24 hours, that I don't think Kabam really understand the aspect of feedback from players and making positive changes to what their player base wants to experience. Is a difference between people who want to stay in a little bit longer in the game and those that maybe want to take a little bit of a break. And that's where I'm going to take our next story, and it's this one here. Now, at first I thought, okay, there's a little bit of feedback, then people started really kind of getting into it and responding, and now it's up to well over 3,500 views, and a good amount of people are talking about it, and the developer has chimed in as well, or one of the community team has chimed in as well. In a nutshell, we all love Marvel Contest of Champions and has a really passionate player base. But in recent months, it has felt that the game is becoming a little bit boring. And maybe that's a case due to so many different factors. The game not functioning well in recent months, the aspect of being forced to do things like Alliance Quest and Alliance Wars, not for a case of like you have to do it, but in a case that is very time sensitive, and at times your life may not balance around this. Yes, you can join respective alliances, but then your progression is slowed based on that. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword, if you get my drift. But obviously those are people that think the other way, and then they're still very much excited by the game, and that is great. It's good to see those people that are really excited about the game, but do bear in mind there has to be two things. If 50% of people go, do you know what, I'm a little bit bored with the game, and 50% of people say I'm not, then you're gonna lose 50%. It's not gonna be actively supported. So that's the part of a community coming together. You're like, well, what could be done to make you more excited about wanting to play? Like those that are really passionate and excited to play right now. This is when you see a rarity in the forums, and that is when people get on. They understand each other's points and then they come together. So, for example, this one here that basically says that saying you're bored with the game doesn't necessarily mean you're going to quit, but it just means that kind of what made you excited about the game is lost. And that's something I've personally had to deal with at times as well. What made me excited to be playing the game in the first place? What would I like to see? And what would I hope from Kabam to do? And likewise, the understanding from the other side, the people that are really passionate and just go, do you know what? I have no problem with the game. I'm really excited day in, day out to come in and grind. So this is a rarity, except this has been a good thing. A lot of the feedback is a case that they're talking about staleness of the game, the fact that it's boring and a lot of things, very repetitive. And this is the point that the developer has, or the contact community-based people have stepped in and had a say. Command Vidis basically says that they've seen, or she's seen the feedback, and even though that it is negative, it is something that they have to take on board. And I really hope they do. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who just say that it's boring, but some people have been a bit more kind of constructive, and I think that's really important for people to give that constructive feedback to Kabam. And this is the next thing, Kabam, take it on board, because obviously they're not going to be able to please everybody, but it is a point of going, do you know what, if you can make next month better than the month that preceded it, then that is good. New month, okay, fresh start. All these bugs that are problematic, combat lag, the sentinel thing, the dashing forward after an SP3, the blocked champions in a defensive stance that don't do anything, lots of things to address, lots of content to look over, something exciting, something new, something going forward that's going to be brilliant. I haven't seen Vanquishing Blow event for a while, which really inspired people to do the stuff with the grind. The objectives have been a good thing, so Kabam capitalize on that and move forward. So yeah, I would love to see them excel in June, and I'm still rooting for them. As I always say, I've gone with the point of like, we can moan and moan and moan, but look, Kabam, get it sorted. Next month, I'm sure you'll do a good job. But then I'll go to moan if it doesn't work out. I think we all will. On to our next story, and what champion would you like to delete? I do promise we'll be doing some more positive things in this MCC news to the latter part of the video. But yes, which champions would you like to delete? Some have gone for the most obvious ones, and some have gone either because they hate fighting against them, or they're champions that are ridiculously good and OP, and maybe they don't get them, but maybe it's a case of like, well, I need a variation in my life rather than the strongest champions. So someone's gone Iron Man Infinity War, Blade, Corvus. I'm sure that if like people were like, I really want a Corvus, would go, no, don't delete Corvus, I want Corvus. But then I do agree on some, mainly because the reskinning, the Netflix Daredevil one, and I'm still a bit bitter about Netflix cancelling Daredevil. Rumour is that it's going to be going on to, I think, Hulu Plus or something. But I'm still a bit annoyed about the whole situation and the fact that maybe it was Netflix that did the cancelling rather than anything else. But that's something for another day. Either way, if there's a champion you'd like to delete, have your say in the comments section for whatever reason why. And maybe go to the forum and have your say on this post. Okay, so on to a news story, or a story that's been in the forums for a while, which I haven't really touched upon because it can get a little bit toxic, it can get a little bit too out of hand, based on the fact of Domino block breaking. Now, I have experienced this myself, but I can't really go over the times and kind of really logically think about the parameters of what Kabam previously fixed against what other players are finding themselves. The whole story of this is based on dexterity block out of, like, you're in a block stance and you're trying to dexterity, you try to evade out of it. And whether or not if it classes a deeper or shorter evade, that based on Domino's double hitting, you trying to get out and release yourself is gonna get you clipped. And obviously, like I said, Dave did a video on this last year where he looked at this and Kabam sort of responded to this. In August of 2018, it was addressed in a bug fix, and it seemed that that was pretty much a done thing. But then it's only been, even personally, I've experienced this in the last month, maybe 2 months, maybe even 3 months, that I've seen and kind of experienced it more. And to some players, again, it goes down to this very indifferent thing. And why I haven't decided to cover this before in the last month is that there's been a difference of people's opinions on it. Some are saying this is fixed and fine, and to others they're saying no, I'm still experiencing this. The way we're posting things like a GIF here that does showcase something like that, I would really recommend Kabam to reinvestigate this. Basically, there'll be some people again that will say no, it's absolutely fine, Kabam don't need to waste their time. I just think for hell's sake it may be worth Kabam actually going, do you know what, you were right, or you were right, or you were wrong, you were wrong, you were right, you were wrong, whatever. It may be worth just to spend a little bit of time just to test that through, because maybe that some are experiencing some of it and maybe some aren't. It's maybe device specific. So yes, I think that it would be a good idea just to have a little bit of time for developers, just take a little bit of look over it. But what are your thoughts? Are you experiencing this? Go to the link in the description, have your say, or have a say in the comment section below. Now the news, and it's arena results time. And what have we got? Well, so far early reports do lead to a 1.3 mil for the 3-star version of Cull Obsidian. Also, the lowest score that I can find so far is 12.5 mil for the 4-star version, but it may be a chance that that dropped down a lot more. I think that it was about a 700 position, just kind of flat. So it could be a case that there could be a little bit of a better score, not a huge amount. And as well with the 5-star, the lowest score that I can find so far from a bit of hearsay, because nothing's really been reported and put on here, is 64 mil. With Drex, the lowest I can find going for is 1.55 mil. For those interested on the cutoffs for round 2, I've put them down below. It is very difficult with the 5-star version of Cull Obsidian, and whether or not we're going with the Corva scenario where the champion will go a lot less in round 2, that could be the case. However, though, I feel that the champion is too overhyped at the moment, and 64 mil would probably be the same again. 4-star for Cull Obsidian, I'd go for being safe at 13 mil, and then the 3-star 1.3, maybe even 1.4 mil to be safe. And in the basic, I'd say 1.6 or 1.65 mil to be safe for that if you want to get yourself a cheeky Drex. But make sure you keep yourself locked to Marvel Contest Champions True Cost for getting those up-to-date information on results a little bit later on. On to our final story, and if you've watched all the memes, the Thanos memes, well, now Thanos is getting his revenge. So if you want to give yourself with a bit of a laugh and find out when the shoe is on the other foot, then hit up this link in the description below. It will take you over to this Facebook particular video. I'm not going to spoil the ending. Go watch it for yourself, but you'll have a laugh. And that has been your Marvel Contest of Champions news for Monday the 20th of May 2019. Hopefully you have a fantastic week. Whatever you're doing, make sure to hit the links in the description, have your say on things that we discussed in the comment section below. And I'll see you tonight for the live stream at 1900 hours GMT. See you then. Bye-bye for now.